Hey there, my name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week, we check in with Jake, Michael, and Alex, 3/5 of the local hardcore outfit Rot. In September of this year, the band not only put out one of my favorite hardcore releases, but one of my favorite releases of 2020. During the interview, we talk about forming the band, jumping from releasing a 2-song single to putting out a full-length record, and letting the art speak for itself. If you haven't yet, go listen to As One as soon as this interview is over. It'll be one of the best and probably one of the meanest things you've heard all year. It's Jake, Michael, and Alex of the band Rot, right here on the Ear Coffee Podcast. All right, well, I'm joined by Jake, Michael, and Alex of the band Rot to talk about their new record that came out earlier this month. This will have come out next month in October. But first, you want to just, how is it going for you guys?
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Decent. It hasn't, it's been interesting to say the least, but not horrible.
Yeah. It's a weird time to try to put a record out, but
Yeah, I don't envy anyone trying to put out music right now.
Yeah, right.
Not to mention COVID, but also just what the summer was.
Yeah. 100%.
Exactly.
It's hard to have any sort of like, look at me mentality.
Right, exactly.
Like, nobody wants to.
No.
You got to tiptoe around that. You know what I mean? Like it's.
Yeah.
But I think everything has gone very well for us. I don't have a single complaint about how the release cycle has gone so far. It's been awesome.
Also, inside and outside band stuff,
Yeah.
Totally.
personal life.
Do you quick want to introduce yourself so people can put a name at least to the voice they're hearing?
I'm Michael. I play guitar.
I'm Jake. I play bass and do vocals.
I'm Alex and I play drums.
Awesome. Well, let's start out. I want to get a little bit of history of y'all's history with music and kind of coming through here to the band Rot, which people know here today. So can you just kind of start out and talk to me about your individual kind of path to where we are now?
Totally. I can do mine really quick.
Right.
I actually grew up in a family who my dad was or is extremely talented, plays saxophone. My mom can play some piano, but my grandpa, my mom's dad, actually played bass, and my brother inherited my grandfather's bass, and he was I don't know if he just didn't enjoy it that much, but he didn't put too much time into it. He moved on to playing like acoustic guitar and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I inherited that through a hand-me-down. I still have it. But I just started playing bass around, it was probably, I started fiddling around with it around 11.
Okay.
And I was always drawn to aggressive music. And so just playing in, local bands and things like that, just always played bass. And, yeah.
Mine's hilariously similar. My dad's a guitar player, musical family. Started playing guitar when I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
Started taking it seriously when I was like 14. Played in a bunch of bands. Met Jake and the boys. Bing, bang, boom. Here we are.
Mine is like completely different from both of those, like as similar as those are. Mine was like, my family wasn't like a musical family per se, but like we always had music playing in the house.
Mm-hmm.
My parents both liked heavy music, and like metal and heavy rock, all that sort of stuff. So they're always super supportive of what I was listening to. So around like, I don't know, 10, 12 years old, I joined drumline in my high school and started playing drums. And I had been playing guitar for a while at that time, but it just was really more glued to drums. And then, from that point, it was like I started playing like along to any metalcore songs I could think of, A Day to Remember and The Devil Wears Prada and stuff in my headphones, like in my band room in school.
Yeah.
And then like ended up, being able to join local bands around here. And that led to Jake and my like previous band crossing paths. And he ended up producing one of our records.
Okay.
And it ended up leading to us being roommates and then bandmates. So.
Gotcha.
After all that.
Yeah. Alex, did you play in War Prayer as well?
Yes.
Okay, because I was trying to figure out, because like Jake, your name, I was in the back of my head, and I was like, oh, it's the liner notes from the last War Prayer release. That was probably like 2018.
Oh, okay.
I noticed like the produced by in the liner notes, since I like to go through there.
Totally. Yep, War Prayer was my baby.
Nice. Is that band no longer a thing?
That band is no longer.
Okay.
We put our last show in November 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
last November at Snow and Flurry.
Second week in November.
Yeah.
Yep, that's correct.
Gotcha. Well, so then how did Rot form? Because I know I like heard some interviews Errol did, and he like moved here from California. So how did you all get connected to form Rot?
So War Prayer toured. We did a tour with a band from California called These Streets.
Okay.
And our bass player was in college at the time. He wasn't able to do it.
What a great name.
I know.
These streets.
So Jake ended up filling in on bass. So we started the tour with them in California. We played some routing dates on the way down,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up staying with Errol and his family in California because Jake and him had known each other forever at that point.
Yeah.
You know, years and years and years. And so that's how Errol and I and Jake ended up becoming like finding that at least that we had chemistry together,
Yeah.
hanging out. You know what I mean?
Can tolerate each other.
I remember Errol showed me, was it Coming to Terms or Nothing's Changed?
It was a super rough, fleshed out idea of coming to terms.
Coming to Terms.
So it's just this very fast, punky drive song.
I remember me and the singer of War Prayer looking at him being like, "You should move out to Minnesota. Like, we find people start that band, they'll mosh to that.
Yeah.
Like they'll like that."
Kids would beat each other up for sure.
And that was like what? That was February 2017.
Yep.
You know, so that was
Yeah.
like that was even a while before he had moved out, and like there was still like that first track had already been written when he had still lived in California.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah, we just kind of vamped and polished it.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was kind of like we were like, okay, we want to play fast. That was just kind of that was
Okay.
That was straight up when
big
you
umbrella.
hit me up asking me if I wanted to play guitar, and I was like, all right, like what are we gonna be playing? You're like, we're just gonna play really fast.
Really fast.
We're gonna play really fast.
Really
It's
fast.
like you're gonna play a 6-string and you're gonna play really fast. Because I come from playing in like prog bands, so I used to play like a big fan fret 8-string fucking
Okay.
Yeah.
one of those goofy things. And he's like, you're gonna play a little guitar and you're gonna play it really fast. And I was like, all right,
Yeah.
I get to do it with all these. Cool, sounds good. And
Yeah.
then I just showed up, and now here we are.
Yeah.
Was coming back to the 6-string a
It was
bit
so
of a
weird.
okay?
Oh, it
Because
was so weird.
I've only messed with like 8-string and multi-string, like an 8 or 9-string guitar, or even a 7, like
Yeah.
going to Guitar Center, and I'm like, this is strange.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah,
like-
so I up until Rot, I hadn't played a 6-string in like my regular rotation of like practice or bands that I played in since I was 15.
Wow.
I started playing 7s when I was 15. And then I got my first 8 when I was 16. And then started playing pretty much only 8s when I was like 17. So yeah, I hadn't played a 6-string for like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
like in like a really long while. Like the only one that I even like had in my possession was like my first guitar, and then this like
That's
weird
insane.
Jackson that I bought because I had to. Basically, it was like the deal was so good that I just like couldn't pass it up. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'll give you $500 for the 1996 USA made Jackson. So like I had to.
Dude, I did the exact opposite thing. Like when I started playing drums, I was like, double pedals, the coolest thing ever. And then I started playing in hardcore bands. I was like, double pedals, the nerdiest, gorgeous thing ever. I got rid of mine. I was like, less is more, single pedal only. So like all throughout War Prayer, everything was all single pedal. And then the second Jake asked me to like join Rot, I like listened to the stuff. I was like,
I gotta dip 2 feet again.
Yeah, it's like-
You're gonna start cooking,
You're gonna start
cooking
I had
again.
to.
either
I
you're
had
gonna
to.
or you're gonna have just a massive right leg from.
Oh my
I
goodness.
wish. I wish.
The control on that one leg.
So those first 2 songs that Rot put out in 2019 were they already written by the time the band? Because you mentioned Errol had Nothing's Changed kind of demoed out at least.
It was he
You
had
know more about that one.
yeah he had Coming to Terms kind of fleshed out. That was the original kind of idea, and I think he had like maybe a skeleton of the intro riff of
Okay.
Nothing's Changed. We had like a 15-second clip that was like in the same session just later on. I'm sure like for him it was like a brain blip of just like here's a riff and just like kind of shat it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But so then he moved out here, which was Yeah, it was
Yes.
fall of 28 or August 2018.
Yep.
And we started writing more and just like working more on those two songs, mainly because Harold moved out to kind of he felt stagnant and just kind of static where he was, or at least that's what I was, that's what he had said, and things got to a point where he was like, I just kind of want to restart.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, move 2,000 miles away and restart.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it's super easy to do.
Mhm.
Just move to a new town. And you're like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you totally can.
Especially if you already know people there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And like, especially if you're like a super nice person
Right.
and loving and welcoming, like makes it
approachable,
super easy. Like, so he moved out, we got him a job, and he was actually singing for my he did 2 songs with my other band Nanashi as vocalist, which is more of like a melodic hardcore band. And it just didn't quite feel right for him or for the band. And so he actually ended up separating from Nanashi on no like bad blood or anything. One of the guitarists in Nanashi plays in Rot, the other guitarist, Tyler.
Okay.
But so in him being not like super satisfied musically with how that was for him, he wanted to do something more aggressive, more fast, more upbeat, more he wanted something more in your face. And I think that's how we really started to dive headfirst into those 2 songs and really started to polish them.
Okay. Jake, since you had so many like connections already here in Minnesota as a producer, did you kind of help pick members or like ask some of the other members of Rot or was it kind of, did you already have that list of people in mind that would have fit well with what Harold already had or what you 2 were working on, I should say?
Totally. I had
The 3 of us were
Harold and I already had we were dead set on we were gonna hound you into doing it regardless.
There was no way I wasn't. There's no way you 2 were starting a hardcore band and I was
changed
There's
you
no way.
like raw
Absolutely,
spaghetti or something.
Yeah,
like,
0% chance. No shot.
The way I perceive it is that from the beginning, it was pretty clear that I was down.
yeah.
So like, the 3 of us were always like,
Who would play?
let's do it. And then I had around that time I just met Michael.
Yeah.
I mean, like
I think we had
that
literally met
summer,
each
and
other
this
like
was like that
twice.
fall.
And I had known you for
We've known each other for a while.
a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so I mean, it was Jake's idea to ask Michael. Like,
Yeah.
I would
my
say to
my
him.
brain went because he's so I saw him play, when he was playing like his 8 strings in his prog bands and stuff, and he's playing crazy riffs and he's like just like all over this thing, like skipping 9 frets, and I'm like, oh god. Untalented, so I went, well, what if like we make him play just like caveman power chords
What if we
really
just make him
fast?
play? What would happen?
And I was like, well, if he crushes the crazy shit, he's gonna crush this fast shit. So that was kind of my brain as like,
At that point, your right hand is more important.
Truly, and I downpick everything to begin with, so like it's cool.
that was kind of, Michael was pretty much always first on the docket if he wanted to, because he was also playing bass in another band and guitar in like another band, or almost like 1.5 some.
Yeah, I was like doing Mythia full time and doing Ultra Rare full time, and then like kind of like playing with some other dudes and like writing some stuff and like playing on some dudes, like doing some recording stuff and a little bit of that, and so it's just like really busy. But then like the Ultra Rare thing stopped, and I was like, I've never been one. I can't be in just one band. I get really bored. So like, it was just one of those like perfect timing things, like the Ultra Rare thing, definitive end, and I was like, I wasn't like actively looking for a second band, but I was like talking to the homies, being like, yeah, so it's like time that I start looking again. Like I'm gonna start putting feelers out, like see if anyone needs a player or whatever. And then Jake just like hit me up one day and was like, you want to come play some breakdowns? And I was like, man, yeah, I do. I kind of really do. 6 string, and I was like, okay. And so I did, so I dusted her off, and we showed up, and he played me those 2 songs, and I was like, oh, I want to play that.
And
definitely want to play that.
Tyler came in later.
Yeah.
it was pretty much we were writing the album and realized that the parts we were writing,
I needed another guy.
it was necessary to have a second guitarist
Mhm.
because
Yeah, it wasn't going down otherwise.
there's parts that you can't do live without two guitarists.
And I'm not backtracking guitars like
Yeah.
that. So
It being such like a metalcore, hardcore, punky kind of feeling, having backtrack tracks would just kind of feel funny
bad.
at a certain
Yeah.
point. Especially because they're not like, it's doable. So like, it's like, why not just
Mhm.
do it? So my brain went immediately to Tyler, our other guitarist, because he plays in a band. He plays in Anashi, and it's
hard.
it's crazy music.
Yeah.
It's basically my guitarist thinking, let's write the hardest thing possible and make Jake figure out how to play it. Like, that's what it feels like a lot of the times. But
Been there.
yeah, so my brain immediately went to him, and he was getting back into more heavy and more aggressive music and listening to bands like, Kublai Khan
Mhm.
and bands like that. So he immediately was like, yeah, I think I do want to do that. I'll show up and I'll rock out, and that's all I have to do. And I went, yep, that's all I need of you is to just show up and rock out. And if you want to write and stuff, that'd be cool.
That'd be sick.
And he was like, okay, yeah, we'll see about that. And like, it was like 2 weeks in, and he was like, all right, I've already started writing Rot songs. And like,
Okay. How quickly after forming did you put together like a set list and play that first like Rot show?
Like
2 months.
2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was pretty. It's a pretty quick turnaround.
yeah.
Yeah.
We were jonesing.
Yeah.
We just had like wet
The reason
sounding
Rot
palettes.
started was War Prayer was still a thing at
Mhm.
that time, and it was really meant to be a band that was supposed to be a side project for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was
Yeah.
pitched. He
That's-
pitched it to me like it was supposed to be. Homies
Yeah.
hanging out in the basement.
You looking? If you need band members, just pitch it to him as it's a side project.
Yeah, he
It's
said,
quick.
"Come hang out in the basement, drink beer, and play breakdowns. It'll be fun."
Yeah, but it was like the whole we wanted a band that we just we can say yes to any show. We don't
Mhm.
have to worry about oversaturating because we're a new band. We can just do whatever we want. We don't have to worry about
What genre?
Yep.
whatever. We don't have to worry about upholding an image that has already been created, or
Right.
trying to get this or that tour or this or that
Specific
show,
sound acquired. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even the whole we can't play the cities between this and that because we're trying to get on this show.
right.
We
Mhm.
can't there's
You have
a
to
distance
stagger.
clause.
Yeah.
So it was really just supposed to be let's just fuck around and play whatever show we want. And it's exactly what we did.
Precisely what we did.
That's kind of what happens when you start doing that. Is
It
it
just,
becomes a little more serious.
Yeah, totally. It just I guess more people liked it than
Yeah.
we thought.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's literally what
It came to a
happened.
point where we're
I
like,
know,
we
it's
like
cool.
this. It's fun for us to play. If
It's
other
so
people like
much
it,
fun
that's
to play.
cool.
That's
but like,
cool.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna
And
ask me to show up, we're gonna show up because we like
Yeah.
playing breakdowns. So
Mhm.
As far as I know, the only time we've ever said no to playing a show is if someone worked.
We physically
and just
can't.
physically
yeah,
couldn't
we
get out of
literally
it,
could not do it.
Because
We
we
like
did
that.
we did a Bismarck show and had to drive
back that.
how many? It was 6.5 hours,
Oh hell
and
yeah!
we
Dropped you off
he
at
dropped
work.
me off at work 15 minutes before I had to clock in.
Oof.
Yeah,
It was sweet.
it was lit.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
Yeah, we had to clock in at 5 in the
5 in the morning, 5 a.m.
We were hanging out, having a great time.
The rock don't stop.
Yeah. The rock don't stop.
They do
So
not.
then I was reading or listening somewhere that your debut record as One, grew from grew from an EP. You initially kind of started out to record kind of an EP, and suddenly
Yeah,
you had an album
Yeah.
playing for those songs.
Let's do. We're let's do maybe 5,
Yeah.
6
Yeah.
songs.
We
And I
definitely
remember
weren't
sitting in the
like, yeah.
basement and finishing Daggers. And I
Yeah.
think Daggers was song 6,
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
We were
And-
like, no shot.
I think Daggers was 6 and Technicolor was 7, or Spirit was 7.
So 6 is a song that we scrapped.
Oh, 6 is the one
We scrapped.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
song
doesn't even
sucked.
exist
Okay, so
that song was
7.
that song. Was terrible.
Well, and that's how it is. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That was totally a part of the process.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like, there's a whole song that if you go watch Rot sets, we play a song that you will never hear again in your entire life.
Yeah.
I refuse to
I'm
play
not
it.
playing it.
I'm not playing
I'm
it.
not
Yeah.
playing it.
And it's
Hell
just
no.
but at that point we're like just trying it out.
Yeah.
In the basement that first day, we're like, yeah, this is cool. Let's play it. We played it that first time, and it was just kind of like a sleeper. And like watching the videos back, it was like, oh, it's like
Not that
not
great.
that great. And then
Okay.
and then Daggers got written, and I remember looking at Jake and being like,
There was a higher bar.
Yeah, there was a higher bar.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
And I remember, like, Daggers is the last track on the album for a very definitive reason. I think we all feel it's a very powerful track.
Mhm.
And I remember hearing it for the first time and like looking at Jake in the basement and just being like, I do not want to play this song and then play this song because this song is so much better. I'm embarrassed to play this.
Yeah.
I refuse.
yeah.
And everybody else agreed with that, you know.
Mhm.
And it was like that was when, you know, that led into songs like Technicolor Yawn and then
Mhm.
Spirit and then everything else pretty
Beretta.
much. Beretta.
You know,
Mhm.
And those are all, I feel, powerful songs, and those are all within like the same kind of
those are
frame
those
of
last.
time.
The,
I guess those were all kind of written.
yeah,
like,
the last like three of the first three of the last four that got written
yeah.
were like all in that
Totally.
little like chunk of time because then Exhaust got written like a while later,
Yeah.
like right
Those
before
are-
Harold was getting.
those are
And
very
As
last
One
song.
and Pressed and
Yeah.
Overdrive had all been done. We had been playing As One, Pressed, and Overdrive from the very beginning of
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
that was always in the
Those were
Okay.
always in.
Yeah.
So at some point, the EP probably would have been Overdrive, Pressed, As One, Daggers,
If
Technicolor, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
Daggers, if it, you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if we were smart enough in that very
And so-
moment when we wanted to release it, you know.
yeah,
Mhm.
it just kind of formed into. At one point, we had a Dropbox file with 10 songs in it, 11 songs in it,
Yeah.
and we were kind of just like, well,
They're there.
Yeah.
and they're all good.
They
You know,
all-
at
and they're
that
all
point, there
hitters.
was none that we wanted that we felt like, you know,
Needed to
and
get scrapped,
if
yeah.
there were 3 songs we felt that we needed to scrap, we would have scrapped those 3 songs and we would have put out 7.
Right.
And it would have been just a little bit longer EP, you know,
Mhm.
and that's how we would have done it. But
that didn't need to happen.
I really felt like it was important that
Yeah.
all those songs were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because usually when you
I
think
think
of
that-
like kind of band progression, it's always like you put out a song or two, then you do the EP, then maybe you can get around to the full length record. You're just like, nah, fuck it, we're skipping to.
Always. They're like, wow, 2 songs and then a full length? You guys are crazy. And we're like,
I don't know.
It was an accident.
yeah,
Yeah.
it just,
Kinda
it
was.
just happened.
Yeah.
And-
it literally wasn't intentional. We just kept writing songs and they kept being like, these sound like rock songs.
Yeah.
Put them on.
Over what period of time was the album written? Kind of because I have a because think like listening. Well, first of all, before I get to that, my next question. Yeah, what period of time were those songs written then?
Like March 2019 to
Like,
March 2020.
like
yeah.
And I mean,
not
I would even say it was
earlier than that.
January 2019
Okay.
to March 2020 because that's
Yeah.
when
yeah.
I recorded. I recorded drums for all 10 songs in March 2020.
Yeah.
So they had all just been done.
Yeah.
That was
Exhaust maybe
Exhaust
existed
had
for
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I hadn't
Yeah.
even learned it yet before I sat
Yeah,
down.
'cause
in the studio.
I like wrote that like right before I flew
Right.
out to Washington in
Yeah,
March. to go
'cause
see
you-
my mom.
exactly.
Yeah, so
And
yeah, that
then
checks out.
I left for Swing Low tour like 5 days after
Yeah.
I recorded
Mhm.
the album.
Yeah.
So like, I would say
Man, it feels like years. ago.
minus Pressed and As One and Overdrive.
Yeah. Everything else.
It was
within the
like-
last,
Yeah.
January 2019 all the way up through early March 2020. I would
Okay.
say like
Yeah.
the whole progression of we're gonna do an EP and
Mhm.
songs were just kind of being written on back burners the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
At
we
the
were still
start,
gigging really heavily. Then,
we were playing.
too.
We've had a lot
Lot
of
of
shows,
shows.
A
and we
lot
were
of
playing shows with their other bands as well.
Yeah.
At that time, obviously.
Yeah, I had an
Mhm.
EP really show in there too.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Oh
Remember
my
when we
god.
did that?
Yeah,
Remember when
we can talk about that later. That was the whole. Oh boy.
But yeah, a year and a half, I would say, is
Right.
that how long it took.
Because I ask just because I feel like given the summer we had, like the songs like As One, Ask, and even like Daggers have lyrics that really fit that like June through, you know, August, like especially in the wake of like the murder of George Floyd, like they feel
Yeah.
they have lyrics that really feel like protest chants and stuff like that. It feels like incredibly fresh.
Yeah.
It's a weird.
It's
yeah.
The album was 100% done with lyrics
Mhm.
prior
Prior to
to-
all of that.
all of that.
Okay.
Prior,
which is also weird
just being that we wrote that album 7-8 blocks from where
it
he
happened.
was murdered.
So
Yeah.
we've gotten a good, handful of like, well, did this inspire the, because it came out so long after
Yeah.
the incident, obviously. And it's I would say the definitive answer is no.
Yeah.
But it inspired the way all of us. It changed the way I think. I mean, personally after it, and it changed the way that we approached releasing the album. Even aside from deciding to donate vinyl proceeds, like
we weren't originally going to do a music video.
Yeah, it was a really weird.
Because again, it goes back to the whole, you're trying desperately, if you are putting out any sort of art at all at that point, you're trying desperately to not have the focus be on you, the individual. And we felt like, we could really put our money where our mouth is and our beliefs right out in front and stand by, our convictions and let our art actually carry weight.
You mentioned since it was done earlier before everything happened, it kind of makes sense that like it fits because Rot's DNA, especially with those first two songs you put out, Nothing's Changed and Coming to Terms, like societal and political issues are very much a part of like the band's DNA and your vocabulary.
Right.
Yeah, that's
true.
And it's, I mean, it goes back to, even before George Floyd being murdered, our city's been pretty corrupt as far as the police. It doesn't take a magnifying glass to see how bad it is.
Yeah.
So it just goes back to, you're a product of your environment. You see these things happening and you have to react.
Literally, you can't help it.
I do want to ask about the song Ask, because like when you look at the lyrics for that song specifically, it very much reads kind of like I describe it as like an activist manifesto with like the speak, ask, think, react. Where did that kind of come from y'all? Was that like something?
Yeah, so that was that progression is actually Errol.
Okay.
He brought that to me.
I wish I could.
And he was like, what do you think about this? And I was like, I really shows, when you see travesty happen and injustice happen, that's immediately where you have to go. Speak, ask, think, react. And we kind of just felt that we could keep that, especially since that song was just kind of so sledgehammery, straightforward the whole way through.
Just kicking in the teeth.
We kind of felt like that would be a really good song to convey that and, just hammer it into people's heads, even if it's subliminal and they don't even realize it's happening. So I think mainly that was Errol.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I'd say Errol brings most of the lyrics to the table, and then he just asks me to proof and make sure that they're coherent thoughts and full ideas.
Okay.
Go lay down.
Dog.
We have a special guest.
Cameo. Right.
Lay down, buddy.
From the band mascot.
Sit your butt.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. A dog has appeared on screen and has distracted everybody.
Very good for very long with not bothering. So
I
had to give him a couple of head scratches.
The song Technicolor Yawn features Don Gordon of the band Swing Low, which you've kind of mentioned a couple of times here over the course of the interview, who probably also has one of like the hardest lines on the record before that.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't prepared for a breakdown 30 seconds into that song because I was like listening to it like late at night. I was like, oh my God.
That one hits. That's fun.
Well, so Don's
I play drums in Swing Low.
Okay.
So Swing Low is post War Prayer, like my main band.
Okay.
And so Rot played a handful of shows with Swing Low in Fargo.
Okay.
And so that's a handful of times of me doing back-to-back sets.
And Errol and Don have this
Don
like
just
they just
cutesy
they just love
relationship.
each other.
Yeah.
if Swingwell's lyrical content is and their whole thing is very political. It's
Okay.
very, very, very open about the political stance. And so really when we kind of were talking about guest vocal spots, it made a lot of sense to have someone do it who really, really, really stood for
And that we knew
what we were.
we knew where his heart is. We know exactly where his brain is.
You know, it wasn't. We could have gone and paid $200 to get any famous guy. To,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But this was someone who was really close to us and really, really, really fucks with what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
He's very about it.
very, very,
Very, very
very, very
about it.
money where his mouth is
Yeah.
on.
And that line is also just from his brain. We sent him no lyrics.
Yeah.
We sent him
So here's the part.
the lyrics before and the lyrics after, and said, "All right, do whatever you want." And I think he messaged Alex and said, "Can I say this?" And
Yeah.
Alex said, "Yeah, you can say whatever
Say
you want, bro."
whatever you
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can say whatever you want.
Nothing is off limits.
Yeah.
Is Don the only feature on the album?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because who does the backup kind of screams on the record then?
That's me.
Okay. Do you then do a lot of that stuff live then as well, or
Yes.
okay?
Yep. Everything on the record it will be and is done live.
Okay. I have a. Is there any songs left over from the record? Because you mentioned you were just like banging out songs in between, or what? Yeah.
We have halvesies.
Yeah, we got
Bro, the Slayer
Okay.
song.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that's not a bad song. It just doesn't fit.
Nothing that we have
No full
played together.
eight of-
Nothing
no,
that we
yeah.
have. Nothing cohesive.
Okay.
You know,
There isn't like a
minute
folder
long-
of 3 B-sides.
No.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Okay.
There isn't that with
Not
this
yet.
album.
Not yet.
Well, at that point, they're not B-sides. They're a new thing.
Yeah.
newbies.
Newbies.
True. True.
And I guess we haven't really talked about.
As soon as winter hits and we're stuck inside,
We'll
we're gonna
start.
write.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
It'll be really interesting to see what it sounds like.
Mhm.
We've
Yeah, what it
kind
sounds
of
like now.
tossed around some ideas, but
Pretty open.
nothing
Yeah.
concrete.
Pretty
Nothing
open.
concrete.
Yeah,
Okay.
Still
We're
open.
kind of just gonna
Yeah.
see what happens.
I got like three riffs in the bank, maybe.
Okay.
Nothing.
Maybe.
nothing-
I'm sure
nothing-
Harold's got a
Yeah.
whole safe of
Million.
stuff in his
Yeah,
brain.
yeah.
You know, Tyler's
He's got a Dropbox folder for sure.
I'll say, as soon as we all get seasonal depression, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's gonna start writing knuckle draggers again. It's bound to happen.
For As One, you released the single Spirit, which, I mean, the record has a bunch of like samples and various kind of, we'll call them skits for what they are. But you specifically use a 911 call from Don's Spirit following a murder suicide in 2014.
Yes.
I was wondering, what was that conversation like over using that sample? Because
yeah, that was definitely a conversation.
Yeah.
Because
That's correct.
like I work as like a journalist when I'm not doing this stuff. So anytime you think of like content like that, the conversation in my brain is always like, how is this going to work between like content versus like shock, or context versus shock versus almost like exploitation?
So I know Harold goes down weird YouTube rabbit holes. He'll literally just sit and just like click, 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 click until he's watching like a hedgehog make a birthday cake for, you know, he just like ends up in nowhere land.
Yeah.
So
literally.
he ended up on a compilation of like top 9 million scariest 911 emergency calls ever, and you'll poop your pants if you listen to all of them.
One of those like shitty like YouTube like compilation channels.
Yeah, that you,
Windows Movie Maker with the basic font, like the blue background.
Oh, yeah.
and the
Oh,
white
yeah.
text. I'm sure.
right
You know,
that you end up on
So-
4:00 in the
Yeah,
morning, like
because
yeah,
you
100%.
can't sleep.
Yeah.
After Spirit was written, it was completely written. He brought up to me, he showed it to me and said, "Hey, I think I want to start the song with this clip." And I had to listen to it and analyze it and really understand what's happening. And then I had to ask the burning question of, well, why? Beyond you hearing it and going, oh,
That's
and like
messed up.
feeling
Right,
like you
feeling
need to take a bath.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like,
Truly.
he explained what the lyrical content was going to be. You know, he had a rough umbrella idea of what he wanted the lyrical content to be. And I think having that start the song really helped him get into someone else's head while also going through his own, personal struggles. And I think it just kind of helps hone the track. And we're aware of how aggressive it is, which is why when the single was released, when the music video and the single were released, there is no 911 call on it. And that's mainly because, we're aware it's very aggressive. And
It's a lot.
if
I tried to veto it
if you're
straight up.
if you're your first exposure to a new band or a new whatever is a really aggressive 911 call, and you're not ready for that, or maybe you have your own personal issues or triggers that you have to deal with, and make sure that you're keeping yourself and your mental state safe. There's no warning for it.
Yeah.
So we basically wanted to remove that so that if somebody wanted to actually give the band a shot, they would have a chance to understand. And after you hear the song and you start to, analyze the lyrics, and then you go back and listen to the album again and you hear it with the sample, it kind of adds this just little context tied to it.
Yeah, cool. Because that clip is just like pure hatred
It's evil.
incarnate, and then when you listen to the song, it's
Twisted.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Absolutely.
I literally
twisted.
when they sent it to me, I had obviously heard the song, but then they sent it to me with that clip in front of it, and I hit the group chat immediately, and I was like, no,
yeah,
I feel disgusting after listening to that, and I'm not about it. And then Errol explained it to me, and I was like,
it worked. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the song "Snuff the Pig" from the band Lung Ripper, because they start out with it's Daniel Shaver's the audio from that, which which pops up in one of your last music video for I think it's Nothing's Changed. Speaking of music videos, you put out a music video for Spirit as well in August. Talk to me about that video, because it's like a very stylized performance video of the band. Where'd that kind of come from, and who'd you work with for that one?
I got it.
yeah,
I got it,
That
boys.
video,
Yeah.
that video was a lot of fun. We,
It was so much fun.
We shot it with the same person who we shot our last video with, Trevor Sweeney,
Okay.
who's local here to Minneapolis. We shot it. We started shooting at 10:30, 11 p.m. at night, and we finished at 2:30 in the morning. And everybody was really tired and really upset that we were still playing hardcore music
at
at
2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning
Yeah.
in front of a camera, nonetheless. But the whole idea from that video was just there wasn't even supposed to be a music video for the release.
Oh, really?
Last minute, Ryan, the head of War Against Records, our label, said, "Hey, are you still able to do a music video?" And at that point, we still were able to do a music video. So we hit up Trevor and we're like, "Are you able to do this in this time period?" And he was like, "Yes." And we happened to have access to that room, that
The Infinity
cyclorama,
Wall.
that white backdrop
Mhm.
that makes it look like it goes on forever. We happen to have access to that through our practice space here in Hopkins, and we just we set up one light. We just kind of messed with what looked cool, and we ended up deciding that the one light with the shadows on the back walls was our best bet. And like I said, it was all kind of just thrown together. We didn't have a lot of time.
We just
plan
wanted it to be
We just
simple.
wanted to look
and-
cool, a performance video.
Yeah.
Clean.
That's it.
Simple, no color.
Yeah, black and white. It was always going to be black and white. There was never any
Never any question about
question
that.
about that. And
Yeah.
we're really happy with the
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was,
like I said, we did it 4.5 hours in the middle of the night after we had all worked. Yeah, it was
for
it was
Jake hitting me
miserable.
up the week before, being like, "Hey, can we film a music video next week?" And me being like, yeah,
I think I
probably,
can
yeah,
squeeze that in.
probably. I think we could do that."
I both worked a full day and had went home, had barely any time to scarf down some pasta or something.
Yeah.
Right.
this.
pull
and
up.
that.
Dude thought we were supposed to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning.
yeah,
so,
that was
like,
another
dude wasn't even there to let
fiasco.
us in for the first like
Yeah, we
half
almost
hour.
didn't even
Like,
get to shoot the music video.
Yeah.
Period.
yeah,
Like,
truly,
I mean,
it was.
There's a lot
it was
of
a lot
a lot of
of.
hurdles. We jumped.
Yeah.
We made it happen.
Yeah.
That's kind of the name of the game.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's sort of just how the band is. It's just like
Make it
just
work.
making it happen.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Totally.
How'd you all get connected with War Against Records? You mentioned that the guy who runs the person who runs the label hit you over the video, and they put out your first 2 songs. When did that where'd that partnership come from?
So they so the label head Ryan, he plays bass in a band called Pressure Cracks.
Okay.
And that is a band full of just killer musicians. It's fronted by Jason Butler, who was in Let Live. He's now also in Fever 333.
Okay.
So I saw their EP come out, and I actually bought one of their vinyl
Mhm.
records. So I listened to his band for a while, and I noticed that the label that he created to put out his band and make the actual distribution for records and things like that, they were the only band there.
Okay.
And the lyrics for that band's first EP were pretty, some of them hit pretty hard. So I kind of felt like we would fit really well and see eye to eye with Ryan. So I sent him a message and said, hey, I don't know if you're already have plans. I know that you probably, have a 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, 12 month, 18-month plan for this project, for your business. And if you can check out these 2 songs, Coming to Terms and Nothing's Changed, that'd be cool. Let me know what you think. And he messaged me back almost immediately. It was just a couple hours.
Yeah.
We were at work. I was in the middle of fueling an airplane.
I remember you messaging
texting
me, be like, "Hey, so I just pitched this to this label. We'll see what he says."
Yeah.
I just remember being like, "Yeah, I mean, let me know."
Yeah.
Whatever.
Why not?
Back
And-
to my YouTube video,
and we lucked out so hard because he ended up loving the songs and believing in the vision and believing in us, and
believing in what we believe in.
Yeah, truly.
I mean that
Yeah.
we would not have
That's huge.
Songs that are both very politically driven.
Yeah.
If he did not, or if he was not about
didn't
that,
share the same
yeah,
ideas.
there's no way
He would have even
this
talked to
partnership
us.
would
Yeah,
happen.
he wouldn't
You
have
know
even
what I
talked
mean?
to us.
I don't know. If I was a label head and I got pitched something like that,
Mhm.
and I was not about that, I'd be like,
No thanks.
heck
Yeah.
no.
I'm not putting my money on that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not gonna buy this product to no way.
But he works
He's awesome.
insanely hard now.
He's the
Yeah.
best.
Now he's
Absolutely
got,
the
like,
He is
best.
the dude.
He's got
Yeah.
I think there's 6.
Yeah.
He has quite a few bands on his roster right now,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
War Against Records. Pay
Yeah,
attention.
check out
Yeah.
War Against Records.
Straight up.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's a blessing.
just a super luck shot in the dark that happened to hit.
Awesome. Did you always have the idea of doing vinyl with this record then too? Because you got some really sick colors and stuff for this one.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was gonna
Yeah, we
buy
love-
vinyl until I got paid, and I was like, oh, I saw the Ox Blood, and I was like, okay, that has to go in the collection.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
The Oxblood is Jake and I's favorite.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think it's my
Yeah,
too,
it's
honestly.
yeah.
Which is funny because
It's so
somebody
good.
pointed out it looks like a piece of steak.
No, yeah.
Looks like a big old.
Like a big old piece of meat, which made us laugh.
But, yeah,
I'm
it's like
gonna throw mine on the smoker.
right.
Yeah, so I've always been Alex and I have always
Yeah.
been into records and collecting cool variants and
Mhm.
just going after things that we will actually spin and listen to,
Yeah.
and it won't just spend $20 to $60 on a record to just have it sit.
Yeah, just hanging
I
up
mean,
on the wall.
from the point we were like, let's do a full length, there was gonna be vinyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Via Ryan, it was.
Mhm.
It was and
If Ryan wasn't gonna do vinyl, we weren't gonna do vinyl.
right.
Mhm.
We got very lucky. He happens to be a very big vinyl connoisseur himself.
Mhm.
So his whole vision with the label
Is
is
everything gets vinyl.
Everything.
Okay, that's super.
So-
He's gonna do vinyl before he's gonna do, but he won't
Do
do a bunch of
CDs.
CDs.
He won't do
Yeah.
CDs.
Yeah.
It's just the style of the label.
It's just his vision for what he's doing, and I
Mhm.
love it.
We love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was saying, I'm
Oh.
with it, honestly.
So It was never like we're gonna put out a record and it's gonna have vinyl. You know, it was like
This many variants and whatever.
had we put out an EP, it would have been a 7-inch.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, so that was
Probably
that
with
was
2
gonna
variants.
happen
Mhm.
regardless.
Yeah.
But we
Via the label, obviously.
Mhm.
we just got lucky
We
and
got
got
lucky.
everybody on board with, you know, the colors that we chose and the patterns and
That
Which
took
was
a
really
while
cool.
though.
Being
it
able
did
to
take a
like
second.
Take a second.
use like the colors and the patterns of like vinyl pressing was the craziest thing I've ever experienced.
Yeah, truly.
We just got the test presses in the
Yeah.
mail. Jake and I
Yeah.
walked in from work the other day and I saw like the package like on the counter with my name on it and I was like, I didn't order anything. Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Right.
Test presses. And we opened them up and I swear to God, I almost cried.
Yeah, you sent the picture into the group chat, and I was
was
sitting in
losing
my
it.
computer. I was pretty sure I was playing Warzone or something, and I just like stopped what I was doing and just like lost my mind for like
Jesus.
10 seconds. It's like, oh my god, it's real.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy. It's
cool.
I swear, it's like having a baby. This is my prized thing right here.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then finally here, where can people find Rot online?
Honestly, it's not the easiest thing. in the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah,
It's getting better.
It's gotten easier.
It's gotten easier. Yeah.
Spotify, you search Rot, it should just come up.
If it doesn't,
If
you can
not,
search
search
Rot as one.
Okay.
Twitter, Rot as one, or We All
No, it's
Rot.
We All
It's
Rot.
We All Rot.
We All Rot. Instagram is We All Rot.
Yep.
Yep.
Facebook
is
is
Rot all caps. Or if you can't find that,
it's We All Rot MN.
MN.
Okay.
But
Instagram,
other than that,
I said
and we're
Instagram.
on everything. Bandcamp.
Yeah.
I think it's
Music is everywhere.
weallrot.bandcamp.com. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's
Spotify,
Every-
Apple Music,
Yeah, Apple Music.
every other
Everything.
streaming-
I'm pretty sure
Tidal,
SoundCloud. I'm pretty
Deezer.
sure.
If you're in the UK watching this,
You got Napster. I think we're on that.
yeah, we're on Napster.
If you only use TikTok, we're on TikTok.
yeah,
Right.
Instagram stories, you can throw that on your Instagram stories. Come on,
Just
And there's
Rot
the-
as one.
And there's the lyric thing on the YouTube. If
Yep.
you really
Oh.
want to learn all the words.
yep, there
There's
are
a playlist.
visualizers with lyrics
Yes.
on our YouTube channel with all the lyrics on them.
Yep.
Nice.
If anybody cares about that,
And then for anyone who wants to order the record, you're taking pre-orders through, is it next month or?
they're
yeah, you know the info.
they're gonna be open as long as there's stock.
Okay.
So right now, I think there's 1 or 2 max on the double mint as we're speaking. And
yeah.
I think the Oxblood has 69 or 70,
Yeah, 70
69
something.
Lamau. And then the hoodies and the long sleeves are sold out. Those have
Yeah.
been sold out for a
A
second.
minute. Yeah.
And I think there are 5 t-shirts left. We just sent out a commission for a new shirt and a hoodie that we're probably going to put out sometime around the holidays.
Mhm.
On
it's-
all of our socials.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the
Yep.
War Against store.
Yep, it'll be everywhere, and that's a really fun one. It's
Yeah, The next
don't
one,
want
the
it.
next one's gonna be a heater.
It's gonna be a sweatsuit.
It'll be a
I
sweatsuit.
just decided right
Oh,
now.
hell
we
yeah.
just decided right now we're making the sweatsuit.
Sweatsuit.
No, but yeah, I would say that's probably what you have to look forward to from us
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
next few months. Is maybe some merch.
Maybe we'll
More-
shoot another music video.
Maybe,
Maybe.
yeah, maybe we'll
Maybe.
shoot another music video. We'll see.
We'll see.
I would like to. It'd be fun.
It'd
Yeah.
be nice.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
I want to do one for. We want to do one for Empty Hope.
Empty Hope would
Yeah.
be the next one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and not coming. We're digitally sitting down to talk with me about the record. If you haven't yet, you should listen to As One by Rot and buy vinyl and all that fun stuff. So
Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, this has been awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, dude.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. You can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @EarCoffee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.